Well, hello everyone and good morning. Welcome to another episode with your girl, Audrey Codner from ACCUPLACER Tutoring. So, we're going to be working a little bit more on the whole concepts of exponents and also factoring, and we're going to merge it all into one because today we're going to be simplifying rational expressions. So, especially if you're a college algebra student, maybe you're getting ready for your SATs, and also some parts of the factoring piece you're still a little jumbled with, this is the live for you. So as you guys are coming on in, we're actually going to be breaking stuff down. So when I mean by simplifying rational expressions, excuse the handwriting, woo, rough day. We are taking a look more so almost at fractions. So if we take an example, let's say 32 n cubed over 2n. Okay? So we're going to start off slow before we really jump into it. So when we're looking at rational expressions are usually like your fractions, okay? So this is how we're going to actually combine what we learned a little bit with expressions and then later on with factoring and merging into ones that they had a baby and now we got to break it down. So when we break this down, we want to break down the coefficients, which is my 32 and my 2, and we also want to break down the n's, the variables with their exponents. Now, so if you have your 32 and we can divide that bad boy by 2, that will give us our 16. So it's almost like saying there's 16 over 1. So that 16 is going to be like in the numerator or the whole number. Now, going back to what we did with dividing, same base, same exponent. But remember, the exponent, if you don't see a number, it's a 1. So when you're dividing, you're actually subtracting the exponents. Think of it this way. You have 3 n's in the numerator, you have 1 n in the denominator, and you want to cancel out how many times? You canceled out one set of n's. And what remains is 2 n's. So we'll say n squared. Okay? So when you're dealing with your rationals, you could try to simplify. And after you simplify, you want to work on your exponents. So now let's take it a step further. So let's say we have 45 over 10x minus 10. Okay. So now instead of being divided by a monomial being divided by a monomial, we have a monomial being divided by a binomial. So in order for us to tackle this, one, we're going to take a look, and I want to take a really close look at that denominator. Let me see if I can get my paper out so we can highlight what we're looking at. So we have 10x minus 10. This could be factored. So I know that 10 and 10 both have 10 in common. And I'm going to pull that 10 out. And what's going to remain after I divide that 10 by the original, 10x divided by 10 gives me 1x, or just x. Negative 10 divided by 10 will give me a negative 1. So this is called factoring. So once this is factored, this 10x minus 10 is gone. Okay, we're not looking at that anymore. But we still have this 45 in the numerator, and we have this 10 in the denominator. Because we factor out this 10, we can actually simplify this. And I know some people are like, oh, it's 4.5. Don't worry about the points, okay? Majority of the times when you see it in rational form, if you see it as a fraction, they probably want to keep it as a fraction unless it's a whole number. So instead of putting it as a decimal, we look to see what does 45 and 10 have in common. Okay, so it's not going to be 4.5, Okay, hey Marvelli. All right, hello mommy, how are you doing? Hello Natalie. All right, 45 and 10, they both have 5 in common. So what I can do is reduce the 45 and the 10 by 5. So 45 divided by 5, that will give me a 9. And this 10 divided by 5, that will give me a 2. So in actuality, keeping it, and yes, it's an improper fraction, but keeping it as that, your numerator is going to be a 9, your denominator is going to be a 2, and then you're going to still have your x minus 1. Because remember, we're not solving, we're simplifying. Okay, that's what we're doing. All right, so we're trying to get it down to its lowest term. All right. Okay, hey Viking Knight, how are you? Thanks so much for the heart. Okay, so we're simplifying these. And I know some people are like, okay, now I have to make it equal to, no, the only reason why I'm putting an equal sign here is so I can see the division of the original to what our rate is. So let's try another one. So if you're saying, well, is this in GED? Is this in the ASVAB? I know everyone always asks, what grade is this? Do I really need to know this? Well, the concepts of factoring, yes. All of the exams you're going to need to know factoring. The concepts of reducing, yes. All of the assessments you're going to need to know reduction. So, might as well stay. Watch. Let's see what's happening. Hey, Janice. All right. So now, our numerator, we have 5a minus 3. Our denominator is 24. So what number, okay, and we could probably do it all in one swoop if you want to. What number does 15, 3, and 24 all have in common? Put that in the chat. What number does 15, 3, and 24 all have in common? Okay, this shouldn't be in. It's saying 3, Sonia and 3, Yoda, Mom's 3, Jenna 3, Julie 3, Renee 3. Is that platypus? Love that. 3, Janice 3, Marvelli 3, Court 3. Okay, thank you. Okay, they all have in common, Delilah, in common. So they have the option of 3. So we can do this one of 2 ways. So I'm going to show you this way, and I'm going to show you that way. So we could factor the 3 out in the numerator. If I factor out the 3 in the numerator, 15, okay, so 15 divided by 3, or I could say 3 times what gives me 15? That will be 5, and it has an A, bring the A down. Minus 3 times what gives me 3? That will be a 1. Then we have our denominator, which is 24. Notice the 3 and the 24. That could be reduced by 3. So 3 divided by 3 will give me 1. And 24 divided by 3 will give me 8. So my official answer will be, I don't need the 1 because the 1 is always assumed to be in front. So I just need my 5a minus 1 over 8. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, let me rewrite here, and I'm going to put it in green. Okay. We notice that they all have 3 in common. So why not reduce all 3 by 3? So this 3 will now be a 1, this 15 will be a 5, and this 24 will be an 8. Then you'll have, trying to grab my pens here. Then we'll have 5a minus 1 over 3. Okay. So you notice you get the same answer regardless of, well, not regardless, but particularly the way that you feel comfortable with. If you feel comfortable with factoring first and then reducing, you can do that. If you notice, the only way you can do this way in green is if all 3 positions, all 3 spots have the same number in common. You can't just, oh, okay, well, these 2 have 12 in common. I'm just throwing a number out there. These 2 have 12 in common. These 2 have 3 in common. No, it has to be the same number for all 3 spots. Okay? That's the only way you can get that. All right? All right? Yes, it should be an 8. Thank you. All right? All right? So let's try this one. I'm going to put this in black. Okay, so x minus 5 divided by x squared minus 10x plus 25. I tried to be somewhere, sister. You're so welcome, Roz. What are these problems called? This is right now I'm working on simplifying rational expressions. And I have a feeling that based off of my tutoring sessions, there are some people that are getting ready for their midterms, and that's in it. So, yep. Okay. All right. So, let's take a look. My numerator is x minus 5. My denominator needs to be factored because right now it's in what's called standard form, okay, in my linear expression. So we have x squared minus 10x plus 25. So it's in that standard form for quadratics. So just like we did yesterday, if you guys were here, and if not, follow along. You'll be able to catch on. Since the leading coefficient is 1, I can immediately go ahead and split my x's. So in order for me to figure out my factors, I could do my x. So I have my a and my c, and I'm rewriting my b. So the a is the coefficient of the x squared. So my a, that's going to be 1 because it's the coefficient of x squared. My b is the coefficient of x, which is a negative 10. And my c is the constant, which is 25. If I multiply my a and my c, I get 25. Rewrite my b, which is a negative 10. So here's the part. We need to figure out 2 numbers that multiply together to give me 25 and add together to give me negative 10. What do you think? So we can go 5 and 5, but if I do 5 plus 5, that's going to give me a positive 10. We want a negative 10. So Ray, there we go, John. There it is. So negative 5 and negative 5, negative 5 and negative 5. There it is. Good job. So now we're going to put our -5 here and -5 here. All right. So since we don't have to do anything with the leading coefficient, these two numbers will go right into our parentheses. What do you notice? What do you notice? So remember, this is no longer here because we put it in factor form. So we started at standard form and we put it in factor form. Okay, they're both the same. It matches the top. There you go, love. That it is. There it is. So here, you know how we simplified up here and we figured out what they had in common and we reduced it? Same thing is happening here. They're the exact same expression, but you can only cancel out in pairs. So you can't just be like, okay, the whole thing is 0 or 1 because you're just going to go cancel, cancel, and cancel. No. You cancel 1 out in the numerator, you cancel 1 out in the denominator, and it doesn't matter which one. So looking at this, what's left? The numerator divided by this denominator will give me a 1. A lot of people just think cancel. No, it actually equals 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. And then what's left is one of those x minus 5s. So if we finish it out, it's going to be 1 over x minus 5. That's going to be your answer. Okay, so we're just taking it step by step. I know there's going to be people in here like, man, this is really easy. I got this. That's great. I appreciate you coming in. But I tried to make this part of my platform for people that, you know, they haven't seen this since they were a fetus, and now they're expected to go ahead and put that answer out there, right? So we're just trying to take these things step by step. Could it also be 1/2? No. There's no 2 in the denominator. I know there's 2 of these, but remember, this is multiplication. So if you have the same things multiplied, that's called squared, not 2, not multiplied by 2. Okay. All right, no problem, Becky. All right, no problem. All right, let's do another one similar to that, because eventually I'm going to take the training wheels off and have you guys go hard at it. So let's go. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, so x plus 6 over x squared plus 5x minus 6. So, okay, Deanna's saying 1 over x minus 1. Here you go again. You love me, see my bio. You just love me. I don't know what your obsession with me is. Sorry. Just have to take care of something. Sorry, I had to go on a little trip there. Because it's like, it's constantly with this person. All right, then I'm having x minus, is that a geese? Or a swan, with x minus 1. Okay, then we have plus 6 minus 1. Okay, so let's factor this out. So notice that the denominator needs to be factored. We have my x and my x. Now, we have our -6 and +5. So we need to think, and I like to do the cross so you're able to see it a little bit more. And when I do, this is called AC. So, because when you A and your C, you're multiplying your A and your C. My A is always the coefficient of my x squared, and my C is my constant. So that will be a -6. And you rewrite the B, which is the one next to the x, which is 5. So, what two numbers multiplied together will give you a -6 and add together to give you a +5? So when we have, if you try 3 and 2, because usually everyone goes straight to 3 and 2, but it has to be negative. So one of them is going to have to be negative. So if I make the 3 negative, -3 plus 2, that's going to give me a -1. We want a +5. There we are. So 6 and the -1. Okay. So here's a little tip, if you can remember this. If this one is negative and this one's positive, that means your largest number is going to be positive. Okay. So 6 times -1 gives me -6, and 6 plus -1 gives me 5. So I can put my +6 in here. I can put my -1 in here. And now all I have to do is take a look. My numerator is x plus 6. I have an x plus 6 in the denominator, so that cancels to give me 1. This cancels out. But I don't really need the 1 because 1 times anything is itself. So the only solution that I have is my 1 over x minus 1. Okay. Well, thank you, Warren. Thank you, Kiki. Thank you guys for the follows. Okay. Questions. Okay. This is the platform that you should feel safe enough to ask questions. Okay. What do I do with the x squared? The x squared is gone. Okay. When we factored, we split the x squared. X squared means x times x. So that means we have 1x here and we have 1x there. So once we factor this out, this is gone. And it's replaced by the parentheses. Okay. So now, once you notice that these two are the same, go ahead, cancel out. This will be 1. This can be 1. But what's left is your 1 over your x minus 1. Okay. Oh, of course, there's going to be another example. We got that. Now, bend over. Hi, how you doing? Easy with the x's. This ain't porn, okay? Yes, we're going to do another example, everyone. Because you love math. All right, so let's see if I can. Let's see if we can step it up a notch, right? Are you ready to step it up a notch? I know, right? It's like triple X's over here. Oh, God, it's already got rid of 1. How is being so crazy on the Lord's day? Sanctified. Okay. Yes, okay. All right, let's see what we got. Let's do... I'm still here, so don't worry. Like, are you going to leave us alone? I mean, I'm going to give a pause, but I am going to explain. Okay, so x squared minus 7x minus 30 over x squared minus 5x minus 24. So actually, it has to be 1 over x minus 1 because your x minus 1 is going to be in the denominator, so you have to put something in the numerator. Okay. Yep, so even when everything cancels out, you still got a 1. So I don't do, skipping your questions. So I don't do anything with 5x. You factored out the 5x. Okay, you factored out. So once you put them into, once you put it into your two parentheses, this is gone. So factoring is basically the opposite of the distributive property. Remember, you hear the word FOIL? So this is our answer for foiling. We're doing the reverse. So when we break it down into these factors, this no longer exists. It's gone. Okay. Let me slide that over again. So when you put the x in the big, it's canceled. Yes, it's factored. That's what you do when you're factoring. You're breaking it down. So it's almost like Jeopardy. If you ever see the show Jeopardy, the answers are in forms of the question. So it's like you're doing the distributive property in reverse. Okay. Mr. Intestinal. Okay. Okay. You have 10 and 3 at the top. Okay. Okay. V, you got -3. That's okay, V. I do basically the algebra piece for the IBEW. Glenn. So if anyone's trying to get into the program. Okay. Thank you. Yep, I'm going to solve it. I was just wondering if anybody else had any or guesses. No, I'm just going to end the live, Nicole. Are you going to solve it? No. But here's your question. Well, thanks for everyone coming on in. Bye. Of course I'm going to solve it. Give it some time. Did you solve it? What did you get? Talking about, am I going to solve it? What'd you get? Okay. All right. So let's chat. So here we go with our numerator. We have x squared. So my suggestion, don't look at this as one big problem. Let me just work on the numerator for right now. All right. So we have our two parentheses. So the reason why I know I can factor it out, 1, it's in that standard form that we were talking about. Okay, my A, which is right in front of the X, is a 1. My C is at -30. So if I want to do my cross, I'm going to see if I can squeeze it right here. So we have our AC and our B. And here's my x squared, so split them. There's 1x here and 1x there. So now when we multiply the 1 and the negative 30, we get negative 30. Then we're going to rewrite the b, and the b is that negative 7. So now we have to think, what two numbers multiply together to give me negative 30 and add together to give me a negative 7? Okay, I'm going to be truthful. This is usually the hardest part, especially if multiplication is not your thing, and it needs to be your thing. Okay, multiplication is just fast addition. Okay, that's all right, Nicole. We got you. All right, so I got a lot of people saying negative 10 and 3. So negative 10 times 3 gives me negative 30. Negative 10 plus 3 gives me negative 7. So that works for both situations. So now this is no longer in existence. Okay? This negative 10 and this positive 3, we're going to put inside of our parentheses. So you have a negative 10 and a positive 3, so it'll be a plus 3. Okay. All right. There you go, Matilda. So that numerator is factored. Yay. Move on. Now we got the denominator. Okay. I like to hide things after I do things because it helps me focus. So now we have, again, our two sets of parentheses, and we can split our x's because my leading coefficient is a 1. Now, if it's not a 1, we got to do something else, and I'll show you about that. So now we have to do our cross. I'm going to stick it over here. So we want our A and our C, and we want our B. So our A is 1, our C is our constant, which is negative 24. So this is a negative 24. Okay. We're going to rewrite our B, which is the coefficient of x, which gives me a negative 5. So now we got to think, what two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 24 and add together to give me a negative 5? Okay, so I'm saying negative 8 and 3, negative 8 and 3. Ryan with 3 and negative 8. Okay, bend over negative 3. Need to multiply and say, well, see, Ryan, I know you don't need to, but if you're going to do factoring, trust me, keeping with the pattern, especially when the A is not equal to 1, it's not thought of like, oh, it's an extra step. Because then once you get into the practice of it, you don't have to worry about that. Okay? Trust me. I know what I'm doing. Some days, probably not. But today, we're good. Hey, Toddy. All right, so we have negative 8 and 3. Because we're all trying to retrain the brain. So that means we put our negative 8 here and our positive 3 here. So it'll be plus 3. Okay. So again, this standard form that we have right here does not exist. Okay, so we're just focusing on the factors. What do you notice? Good morning, Anne. Oh, thank you. Hope you're having a wonderful day, my beautiful friend. Love you. So, this is why, because when you're factoring, x squared is the same as saying x times x. So what we're doing when you're factoring, you're breaking them up into two parentheses. Here's my x times my x. We don't do x squared. Because if I did the distributive property on this, If I did x squared here and x squared there, x squared times x squared gives me x to the fourth. That's not what we originally had. We originally have an x squared. So it's going to be x times x. That gives me x squared. Okay, so factoring, well, thank you. Factoring is the reversal of distribution. Okay. All right. Yes, some melody. Thank you. So we have our x plus 3's, one's in the numerator and one's in the denominator. Okay. That's the best thing. That's the one thing, I don't know. It's very satisfying when you factor and you find something you can cancel out. Okay. Yes, they both equal 1, but we have something next to those values of 1, right? We have an x minus 10 and an x minus 8. So my official answer is going to be my numerator, x minus 10, because x minus 10 times 1 is itself. And we have our denominator, which is x minus 8. And x minus 8 times 1 is itself. Okay? And that will be your final answer. Okay. Yep, you cannot reduce. Good question. Who has said that? Rose? Okay, good question. Because a lot of people have a tendency to do that. And that would definitely be one of the options on any of those tests. GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER. All right? You cannot reduce the 10 and the 8 because they're a part of a number, air quotes, because we have x minus 10. Okay, that means whatever that value of x is, you have to subtract it by 10 to form a number. So they're like in a relationship. That's you and your boo. That's it. No one else is coming between you. No other these little tricks and all that stuff. Hell, we canceled out x plus 3 because she was trying to do a little something. Get away from this. This is us all the way. King and queen, get ready, kick rocks, right? So this is why. This is why you don't. If it was just x, if it was just 10 over 8, yes, you can reduce it. But since it is an expression in itself, you cannot reduce it. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate that. I can't have a negative in the denominator. That's not a negative. That's a minus sign. It's an expression. Okay. So this is considered like Algebra 2 when you start seeing this. Okay. You're welcome. Yeah, because that's definitely one of the answer choices that people will put in there. Okay. So it's like sometimes we have to figure out the difference between, especially the integers. That and multiplication seems to be the stem of what a lot of people struggle with math. Yes, there's a lot of rules, but the one rule or two rules that you really need to get down are the signs and multiplication. Okay. All right. Let's do another one. Okay. And if you're here, there's 249 of us. If you guys can do like a mad tap, let's see if we can get to like around 8K. That will be awesome. Because just like how you guys are, you probably got here on the FYP, maybe because someone that you're following has started to follow me. So if anything, let's take a look at that. And if we can do a mad tap, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, let me double check on any other questions. I had to help. Okay. Let me make sure we're good. I have to do this now. Good, Anne. Okay, go ahead. Okay, all right. Thank you, Nicole. All right, I think we got all this. watching the Algebra Basics. All right, Glenn, good. All right. Got a little space left. All the Mel's are blending. Thank you. Okay, we're at 6. We're almost there, guys. Keep going with the mad tabs. There's like 229. Also, while you guys are tapping, and I do want to respect your Sundays, because trust me, I know some people, this is the only day you can get stuff together. Now, if you can't stay, I totally will understand. Or if you ever want to watch the replays, you can. So you can go here and here. If you want to take a screenshot, you can. I would love for you guys to do these 5 things. Okay, obviously it's a free subscription. And what you will see is a playlist of all my lives. Okay, everyone since February the 2nd till yesterday. Yeah, it's a lot. I think I got a notice that I have over 600 uploads, which is hilarious. Didn't even feel like that. So if you ever need that, that's where you can definitely go to get the replay. Give me some time to give you this replay, though, because, you know, sometimes it takes a minute for it to come all the way up. All right, so I'm going to take this off in 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, almost there. So let me just keep on. Let me set this one up while you guys are still typing. Just a nice, easy Sunday morning. All right, perfect. Perfect timing. Yes, depending on the situation, PEMDAS is used. But this one, you're not going to get much out of PEMDAS because it's a quadratic function. So let's walk it through. Go ahead, especially with the numerator, go ahead and factor in the numerator. Tell me what my 2 parentheses are. Okay, tell me what my 2 parentheses would be. I'm going to move my hand in a moment. There you go. Oh, go ahead and factor it. Okay, so I'm seeing b minus 4, b minus 7. I'm seeing a plus 7 and a minus 4. Ooh, look at zebra. That is zebra. All right, double Z. Z squared. Love it. Okay, so Big Mel was saying b plus 7, b minus 4. Okay, any other answers? Now remember, if you're just like, yeah, Audrey, I don't get it, always use a question mark. Okay, always use a question mark because it tells me like how much detail I need to put in for the explanation. Okay. So, all right, thank you for your honesty, love. I appreciate you. Thank you, Chocolate Tea. Appreciate you. Okay. I know there's more. No one wants to admit it. That's fine. Okay. All right, so we have D-Way. Good. Here we go. So we are using B, so we're going to split our B's up. So now, my A is 1, my C is negative 28. So that means we're going to have, and I'm going to put it up here, our negative 28, and the middle term, which is a positive 3. So we need to think, what two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 28 and add together to give me 3? So since this is a negative and this is a positive, that means my lowest number, whatever number we're going to come up, that's going to be negative. So Toddy, we got our 7 and our negative 4. Because 7 times negative 4 gives me negative 28. And 7 plus negative 4 gives me 3. All right? So these are the two numbers we're going to use inside our parentheses. So it'll be plus 7 and minus 4. Okay? So now we're not looking at this. We're looking at the factored form, which is my B plus 7, B minus 4. Now, as Z squared mentioned from yesterday, there you go. Don't cry. You're doing great. So now, as Z squared, zealous zebra, mentioned that this is one I didn't show yesterday. B squared minus 49. So let me take a look. Let me show you as the X. So remember, your AC is going to go up here. We have an A because that's the coefficient of our B squared. We have a constant, which is the negative 49. But what's missing? Okay, let me keep it right here. What's missing? Not on all algebraic questions. The B, there you go. Where's B? Yes, we have the C. The C is the constant. Okay, the constant doesn't have a variable next to it. But we don't have just a single B. You see up here, we had the B, which was the 3, and we were able to put that down here. Okay, this one, try to slide. Okay, this one, we had a 5, and we put the 5 down here. But this time, we don't have a B. What could I put in its place? There you go, Block Doc. Thank you. Okay, we're going to put in a 0. If you're missing a B, you put a 0. Because it'll be a nice little placeholder. But we're still doing the same process. So if we're multiplying, what two numbers multiplied together will give me negative 49 and add together to give me 0? Okay. What do we got? So 7, careful. What two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 49? So that means I need two numbers. There we go, Block Doc. There we go, Gail. There we go, Positively Me. All right, put it all together. So in order for it to be a negative 49, one has to be positive and the other one has to be negative. Okay, because 7 times negative 7 gives me negative 49. 7 plus negative 7, that gives me 0. So if I want to split my B's, we got a B here, a B here, positive 7, so it'll be plus 7. Negative 7 will be minus 7. Okay, questions on that part? All right. There you go, my belly. Good. There you go, Snow. All right. Now, looking at what's in green, not this part, what's in green, what do you notice? Exactly. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Yep. I do it twice, but one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Chocolate tea saying B plus 7. Yep, the B plus 7s, they can cancel out. Yes. So, get rid of the B plus 7. Get rid of the B plus 7. What you have in the numerator, what you have in the denominator, they can cancel out and give you a 1. But anything times 1 will give you itself. So what's left over is your B minus 4 over your B minus 7. So your answer is B minus 4 over B minus 7. Now, that's your answer. But eventually, because remember, I think I'm talking to people that it's been a minute and you want to know why. Because a lot of people will say, oh, these are perfect squares. You have a 1, you have a b squared, and you have a 49. 1 and 49, they're perfect squares. So this is what I'm talking about. Go to my handy dandy notebook. Okay, so in the back of my lovely notebook, we got our squares and our square roots. Okay, 1 squared, that gives me 1. So 1 and 49, they're perfect squares. So that means 7 squared will give me 49. 1 squared will give me 1. Okay, so when it's time for me to look at this, this is called, as soon as I zoom back in, this is called that B. Let me cover it up. This is called the difference of perfect squares. Okay, so the leading coefficient is a perfect square. The 49 is a perfect square. Even B is being squared. But the reason why they call it the difference of perfect squares is because you're subtracting. So that means when you do your breakdown, you can split your B's, you can split your 7s, and just make one of your answers positive and the other answer negative. Okay? So that's kind of like the shortcut of that. But if you don't recognize it and you feel confident enough with the ACX, you can still continue to do the ACX. Okay? That's why I teach it this way, because I'm trying to show you no matter what form of factoring you're going to do, you can always use this display of the X. Okay? So remember, your X is you multiply your A and your C, and you rewrite your B. Okay, let me go to the chat. No, we're done. That's the answer. I'm just, not to freak you out, I'm just trying to ad lib. So, not really. Just tell you a little bit more because you might see these later on. You might see x squared minus 36. What gives me 36? 6 and 6. Split the x's, one's positive, one's negative. If I said x squared minus 81, oh, 81 is a perfect square. That's 9 times 9. So then you split your x's. So you have x minus 9 and x plus 9. Okay? And it doesn't matter which one is positive or negative because multiplication is commutative. So if you have b minus x and then b plus or b minus 7 and b plus 7, that's fine. Okay? But all I like to say, check your answers. If you're doing GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, because most of those are multiple choice, just check to see which one it is. Don't go too deep with it. Just find your answer, click it, bubble it, circle it, move on. Okay? Jenny, how are you? Is this algebra? Yes. Yes, it's like mostly like algebra 2. A little bit of college algebra as well. Let me see what I missed in the conversations. What would the question look like? It'll probably look something like this and says factor. Literally, that's all they'll just say, factor. Or they'll just say simplify. I love when it's very simple one-word questions. Yep, so it will look something like that. And then for GED, the factoring pieces, like just what we did with this one, that's a 4-point question on GED. So we talked about factoring yesterday. Okay, we got that. I did the first and questioned myself, but my brain. Okay, you got this. Now, thank you, Melody, for saying that. What if it was plus 49? You won't be able to factor it. You only have the difference of squares, not the sum of squares. Can't factor it. Because you'll never get a 0 if it's plus. Good question. You guys got some good questions. Love that. So 2, you're in Algebra 1 right now. You'll probably learn, depending on your district, I think most people are doing geometry right after Algebra 1, which I still don't understand why. Just, yeah. Anyway. But you'll probably get it in 2 years, Toddy. Yeah. Then you're like, I'm going to forget all of this. I know. All right, so let's do some more. Let's do some more. Okay, we're doing very well on time. Let's try this one. You're either going to still like me or you're going to be like, I hate you. Bring your hate. Hate. So, 9x squared plus 81x, x cubed plus 8x squared minus 9x. Yeah, if it's different terms, we're not factoring. You can't factor when you have different terms. Okay, you have to have x's all the way through if you're going to be factoring. You have to have y all the way through. Now, if it's a x squared and the middle term has an xy and the last term has a y squared, you can factor that. You'll just split your x's and split your y's. And your xy will conform in the middle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Brown. Like, every district is different. You know, some people are doing, especially during COVID, a lot of people are doing Algebra 1 for a semester, and then Geometry for a semester, and then Algebra 2 the following year for a semester, unless you're a tri. Instead of semesters, you have trimesters. I don't understand how you can learn a whole year of Algebra 1 in a matter of, how many months? It's crazy to me. So some stuff must be kicked out. All right, Mel, good. Yes, Toddy. Nice, K. There we go. I love that. All right. All right. So, yes, good. Right, Jay? That's what I'm saying. It's cray-cray. Now, taking a look at the numerator. I love this. Okay, you guys notice that 9x squared plus 81x, they have a GCF. Yes, Anytime they say for you to factor, to simplify, if you're doing factoring, the first question you should always ask yourself, do I have a GCF? And in this case, the answer is yes. And what it is, it's 9x. Okay? Because 9 and 81 are both seen in the 9 times table. Okay? This has 2 x's, this has 1 x. So they have at least 1 x in common. So now we're going to take this original and we're going to divide by that GCF. So 9x squared divided by 9x gives me x. Bring down my plus sign. 81x divided by 9x, that gives me 9. All right. So my suggestion, let's factor everything before we do anything else. Focus on your denominator. What do we get? But also depends on the teacher too. Zoom out? Sure. There you go. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Jen. Okay. So, in that denominator, what we have is an x. My GCF this time is an x. So, inside the parenthesis, x cubed divided by x, that gives me x squared. Okay. I have 3 x's. I took 1 out. That means there's 2 x's left. Plus my 8. There's 2 x's. We took 1 out. There's 1 x left. Minus 9x. Took 1 x out. We only have 9 left. What do you notice now? Well, wow, you can't use ChatGPT on a test. Sorry. And this is what society wants you to do. They're just trying to dumb you down, baby. Don't fall for it. Okay? Keep that brain active. Okay? If it's not math, reading. Keep that brain active. Can I go to the left a little? Do you mean the right? Because if I go to my left, you're not going to see much. Okay. All right. So what we're doing is factoring. Okay. I was like, the left? I'm not going to say anything. All right. So inside, this is not completely factored. Yes, this is factoring. All right. Inside this parenthesis, that x squared plus 8x minus 9, we can break that down. Okay, remember this? So my x, so we're not looking at any of this. We're not paying attention to that x. We're just paying attention what's here in green. Okay, just paying attention right to that section. So my leading coefficient is 1, so I can split my x's. So now I need to figure out, and I'm going to put it over here, I need to figure out my A, C, and my B. The A is the 1, the C is the negative 9. So 1 times negative 9 gives me negative 9. My B is the middle term, the x, so that's my 8. right? Yep, Toddy, AC is -9. So what we got? What two numbers multiplied together will give me a -9 and add together to give me a +8? So it's got to multiply to give me a -9. There we go, Jen. 9 -1, Mel, 9 -1. Do we see it now? We're not multiplying to get this. We're multiplying to get the top part, and we're adding to get the bottom part. So if we have our 9 and -1. So 9 times -1 gives me -9, and 9 plus -1 gives me a +8. Okay. So now we're going to take those two terms and put it inside the parenthesis. So we got +9 -1. So now this is completely factored. Okay, so that x plus 9, the x minus 1. All right. Okay, so if you just got here, obviously you're going to be confused. All right. So, not looking at what's in blue. I'm going to zoom in so we can focus our attention. Now, we don't need to worry about this part. We're only worried about the parentheses here and the parentheses that we factored here. What do you notice? Okay. Where did the what? The 8x squared go? What do you mean the 8x squared? We factored it, babe. Okay. For our original, remember we factored out the x. So now we're not dealing with this anymore. We're just dealing with this. Then we factored out this middle one. So we're not worrying about this. We're worried about these. Okay. All right. So now we have x plus 9 and x plus 9. They can cancel. But there's something else that can cancel as well. Yes, Toddy. There it is. We have an x here and an x down there. They're outside the parentheses. So they can be simplified. They can cancel as well. So what's left over is, if I take a look, we only have the 9 that's here. In the denominator, what's left over is the x minus 1. And that's your answer. Yep. So the x cubed is the x outside, the x inside. Right. So once you factored out, let me zoom out a little bit. Or zoom in. So once you factored out that x, this is no longer an x cubed. It's an x squared now. This is no longer an x squared. It's an x now. And this is no longer an x. It's just a constant. Okay. All right. That was a lot of factoring, yes. And that was the reason why I did factoring yesterday. So one, to show you that this is more of like Algebra 2, okay? Are you going to see a problem exactly like this on the GED, on the ASVAB? No. ACCUPLACER, yes. Because remember, the ACCUPLACER, they're trying to place you into college algebra. So you will see something like this. But the whole concept of factoring, we just practiced it twice. You will see a problem like this. You will definitely see a problem like this on the GED, on the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, SAT, ACT, IBEW, TEAS test, HESI test. I'm trying to think of all the exams you guys are taking. Praxis. Basically every exam from A to Z, you're going to see some form of factoring, because that's more of like advanced or higher level. Now, like I said, for the GED, factoring, that's going to be a 4-point question. Okay. ASVAB, if you see factoring for the ASVAB, that means you're doing really good. You're in the 50s, early, I want to say in the 50s, if you're seeing factoring. Okay. All right. Is this an everyday or every week thing? What, me coming live? I come live, but I jump around. Okay, I jump around. So, like today we're doing this. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing SAT prep. The next day we're probably gonna be doing maybe some basic GED or algebra review. The next day we're gonna be doing something for I think it's ASVAB, if I'm not mistaken. So it's always like a mixture of stuff. Or no, HES. I think I'm going to do a HES on Wednesdays. Sorry. So every day is something different. And like I mentioned earlier, but for the people that are coming in here later, if you want any of this, go here, that, and then you have to do those things. Okay. My schedule, my live schedule is going to keep changing because the more and more clients that I get, because I do online math tutoring, the more clients that I get, the less time that I have for all these things. Because, hey, I got to pay my bills, just like you guys got to pay your bills. Sometimes people don't think about that. They're like, I just want stuff for free. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Because I'm having problems paying my bills. I'm in the same boat, baby. You know, I'm just trying to stay off the pole as much as I can, you know. There ain't nothing wrong with it because I got friends that do it, but that's just not me. I'm 6'1". I will clear out one person with one swing around that pole. Okay? All legs. Try to stay away from Baltimore Street, you know, Janice. I'm telling you. So, all right. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. Do what you gotta do, boo-boo. Make that money. Don't let it make you. That's all I gotta say. All right. But if you want this, I'm just going to leave this up here. If you're just starting out and you're like, man, math, I wish I knew math. I understood it. I'm trying to get this GED. I'm trying to get this ASVAB score. And I scored a 3. Like, I've had people that actually said, you know, I scored a 3. So you might need something really with the basics. So this is when I have my courses. You figure out what you want to do. Especially people that are going into nursing, also the IBEW, the foundations of algebra. That'll be a great one for you because it's like 107 videos. And there's also practice problems on there. There's also quizzes. I give a step-by-step. Now, these videos are not 5 minutes long. Like, you see how I talk. But, of course, you can always fast forward. You can always rewind. My videos are roughly like 20 minutes long. And there's times that you can actually pause it, see if you can do the problem yourself, and then push play to use the video as a correction tool. So, and at the end of every video, I always do like an exit ticket. And then the question or the answer for the answer ticket is on the next video. That's the start of the next video. So it's more sequential than my lives. I do these lives to, one, kind of help you feel comfortable with math, because that inner child, we all have that inner child. When we were first introduced to math, we probably had that one teacher that just made our lives a living hell. And then every time you see math, you cringe, right? So, yes. I am thinking about doing that. That's a very good question. I'm thinking about, you know, for all of my followers, just have like a follows only type live. I was just thinking about that yesterday because I'm starting to get up there in my numbers, and it's awesome because sometimes TikTok just, yeah, I know you're listening. Okay. All right. So we need to heal that inner child, because I know some of you guys have kids or grandkids and they're asking you math questions and all of a sudden you want to break out in hives or break down. And I just want to build you up. and say that you can do math, because I used to suck at math. Now look at me, I'm a math teacher. I don't know how that happened. 22 years in the business. I really don't know how that happened, but here we are. It's God's way. It is God's way. All right, so let's do one more that's going to be very similar. If we can squeeze in two, I will squeeze in two, because I do have to get ready for my clients. So let's do this one. Let's say 6v cubed, 42v squared. All right, 2v squared 26v plus 84. Yeah, because doing prep work for these lives, I love you all, but this takes a lot of prepping. It's true. Thank you. Like, once you understand the bits and pieces, it does. You know, especially, an intro to calculus or pre-calculus. Not that AP pre-calc. I don't know what, that needs to go back to the depths of hell, which it came. But even with pre-calculus, I was the same with the unit circle until I was like, oh, wait, okay. Sometimes it just takes a lot of practice for you to somewhat feel comfortable. We're just in a society that we're told that if you didn't get it the first time, you're dumb. And that is so incorrect. That is so incorrect. Sometimes you might need to see it like 10 or 15 times. And then all of a sudden, rightful age of 25. Oh, that's how you do break down fractions. Because that's exactly what happened to me. Someone told me that fractions is nothing but division. And it just, bing, light bulb. 25 years old. Craziness. Yep, exactly. You take that next year. I got you. Okay. No, right back at you. Because we all got this. Just have to take it step by step. Yes. Actually, I'm doing PSAT tomorrow, to be honest with you. And tomorrow we're going, I think we're going early, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's at 6 o'clock. Yep, I'm going at 6 o'clock on Monday because I have somebody at 8:30. So yep, that's what I'm doing for the PSAT. So, yes, thank you. That's why I don't like the AP pre-calculus. It can go back to the depths of hell. Okay, 5 for my 1-to-1. Just send me a message, Danny. Send me a message. If anyone wants to do tutoring, just let me know. Just send me a message. Add an exponent to... You do not add an exponent to the 26v. Okay. Okay. For the ASVAB, yep. I'm starting to become really popular with that. All right. So, let's take a look. 6th grade? Yes, we can do that. Oh, 6 at night. Oh, no. No. I'm going to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's getting ridiculous. That's why. It's got to stop. Yeah, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when I'm going to be doing PSAT. All right. All right. Yeah, just send me a message. Just send me a DM on here. Or there's a Service Plus button at the bottom of the screen. You can reach me there as well. All right. My numerator. Don't you love when you just had papers in your hand? I am not that old. Here we go. We can do this. All right, so we have 6v cubed plus 42v squared. Looking at the 6, looking at the 42, what do we have in common? Okay. Not a problem. Not yet. I don't have enough followers just yet, but don't worry. Okay. 6. There you go, Toddy. 6 what? And then we got Janice with the V. 6v Michael. 6v squared. There you go. All right. So we know we got 6. We have 42. They're both in the 6 times table. That will be your greatest common factor. Now we have 3 v's here. We have 2 v's there. How many v's do they have in common? They have 2 of them. Here's the helpful hint. When they both have the same variable, always pick the variable with the lowest exponent. Okay, I'll say that again. When they both have variables, always pick the variable with the lowest exponent. That will help you with your GCF. Now, parenthesis, let's get with dividing. So 6 divided by 6 will give me my 1. We have 3 v's here. We took out 2 v's. That means there's 1 v left. Okay, there's 3 v's here. We took out 2. There's 1 v left. Now 6 divided by 42, that will give me my 7. And since it's a positive, it's going to be a plus 7. We have 2 v's here. We took 2 v's out. We don't have any v's left. So let's end it. I know, it's a habit. It's a habit to write X instead of the letters. I know, I had to switch it up. Okay. All right. How are we doing with that one? Okay, good. All right. Now, let's work on this denominator. What do we notice? Okay, what do we notice? So I'm bored again saying 2. Okay, 2 is my GCF. Good, we got 2 with Kesh. Good. All right, so we're pulling out the 2. It's not 2v because that has a v squared. That has a v. That does not have a v. So when we pull out the 2, breaking out the beginning parenthesis, now we're going to divide all this by 2. So 2v squared divided by 2 is just 1v squared. Then we have 26, since it's positive, boom. 26v divided by 2, that gives me 13v. Then we have our 84. Taking half of 84 divided by 2, that gives me my 42. Okay, so now we're no longer looking at what's in black. We're going to focus on what's in blue. Yeah, just like little pieces of the puzzles. All right. Now, still keeping it as a fraction. For my numerator, really can't do anything else inside this parenthesis, so we're good with that. But my denominator, the denominator though, we do have our 2. We can just bring that down, but we need to factor what's inside the parenthesis. My leading coefficient is 1, so I can split the v's up. So now we have, and we can, use our cross. So this is our AC, this is our B. Okay. So multiply our A and our C, we get 42. Rewrite our B, which is 13. So now, what two numbers multiply together to give me 42 and add together to give me 13? Okay, there it is. It always comes to fruition. Everybody loves it. You know, when those oldies but goodies see it, you know it's played out. All right? All right, so go ahead, put it all out there. Okay, so we have 6 times 7 gives me 42, and 6 plus 7 gives me 13. So these two numbers we're going to put into our parentheses. So we have plus 6 plus 7. All right, so this is your factored form for the denominator. This is your factored form for the numerator. Okay, what do you notice? I know. Thank you. I don't know. Okay, Toddy, good. Danny, good. Okay, I'm bored, good. All right. Yes, yes. Nice, Jenny. Okay, so we got some common factors. So we have our, V plus 7 and our V plus 7, they cancel out. But then we got this 6 and this 2. They're common. They're leading coefficients. We can do something with that. We can actually divide that. That will give me a 3. This will give me a 1. So now, let's clean up. Let's see what we got here. So for my numerator, we have 3v squared. And my denominator, we have 1 times v plus 6, but we don't need that 1 because anything times 1 is itself. So my official answer is going to be this. Talk to me. How are you guys feeling? Okay. Okay, it is. And I think because you're in a calm state, you're not worried about anything, you're not in a class filled with 26 other people that don't really care, they just want to go to recess. You don't have a person that's teaching it that they know the math, but they probably don't know how to break it down to their students. You're no longer scared. Because when you're calm, you can learn. You can receive information. You can process information so much better. Okay? Or just mad. Mad isn't crazy. Which, yeah, we're nuts. But sometimes it's hard. And I know as a former teacher, I felt like I couldn't do what I wanted to do, which was teach. I was always maintaining something, filling out emails, filling out forms and telling the curriculum, this is your curriculum. And all of a sudden, a month later, okay, we're chucking that curriculum. Just do whatever you want. What? So, yeah. I know, on your nerves, right? Sure. I think you can get it all in there. Okay, that's the furthest I can go. 30 years ago? We were probably in the same class, dude. I appreciate it. Oh, like mad at the students? Yeah. Sometimes sometimes y'all kids. They feel like that's their freedom. They just want to act all kinds of crazy. Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. He was learning English? Okay. So that's what we're doing for today. We're not doing a 4-hour spell like we did yesterday. That almost killed me. I never thought I would eat so much food in my life. Almost made myself sick because I was so hungry. But I got to learn control. So for the most part, hopefully you guys took something from this live. Be able to apply it. Like I said, tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'm going to be... Wait, hold on. Yeah, tomorrow at 6 p.m. I almost got scared looking at my calendar, thinking today's Monday. Whoa, Audrey, slow down. So tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'm going to be doing PSAT prep or SAT prep. Just a whole bunch of questions that we'll go through and you just tell me A, B, C, D. And I explain, what are some of the things you can do for testing, especially for the way that you guys are going to be taking the test. You're going to learn to do POE, P-O-E, process of elimination. Any type of those standardized tests, that's what you want to do. Take what you know. It's going to be hard for you to memorize like every formula, but if you can get a good idea, and when you look at some of the formulas, especially like formulas for slope, equation of the line, point slope, sometimes finding parallel and perpendicular lines, they all stem from the same equation, believe it or not. They all stem from what slope is. Your rise over run, your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So hopefully we can do more activities, but if you are in a time crunch and you want to get yourself ready for, say, your midterm, or you just want to get things ready before the quarter ends, because can you believe it? The quarter is about to end rather quickly for some people, or their midterms are coming up. Not midterms, their interims are coming out, especially the ones that are in school. Man, time is flying. So don't wait until the 11th hour. And again, if you do need a tutor, just message me. Okay. If you're thinking about getting after your GED, you don't have to wait until January. Like if you just want to learn some math and you want to get part of the course is $197. I'm going to be truthful. Okay. Is it jam-packed with stuff? Yes, it is. Should it be a $300 course? Yes, it should be. But I'm putting it at $197. Okay. That's one. And then for my tutoring sessions, I normally charge $87. Again, I'm being very transparent. But for my TikTok followers, I'm putting it at $67. And I only have 3 more of those slots. Okay, because I have budget myself to how many of my 87s I can carry and how many of my 67s I can carry. So I only got 3 more of the 67 slots. So if you want it, you can get it. Now, I also do small group tutoring. Okay, now you need to really make sure you know the people that's going to be in it. You guys can pick the groups. Because it's going to be tough, because some people in some schools will be doing one thing and some schools another thing. So if it's you and you know a couple people in your class that are struggling like there's no tomorrow, we can do a group rate, okay? And my group rates are definitely a lot cheaper, okay? Depending on how many people in the group. All right? Okay. All right. Awesome. So... thank you for tapping. I appreciate it. Okay. Definitely, Danny, I will definitely respond. Yep. Okay. You have a good current math teacher? Good. Savor that person. Don't give them a hug. That's a little too much. Unless they were willing to receive it. Now, before I skedaddle, if you're wondering, especially people that are new, this notebook that I'm writing in, this is a notebook that I designed. And just real quick, like this just gives you a section where you can actually write down your notes. Whoa. Okay, just gonna give you a section to write down any formulas, any steps. You can see that immediately. And then it gives you a section for you to actually write down your notes, not only on one side, but also on the other side. Now, besides just the notes, we also have resources. So I'm kind of showing you, we have a factor chart. So from 1 to 200. Then you also have some other rules and regulations that people tend to forget. Okay, so we have our inequalities. If you're stuck with the rules of integers, we have it here as a reminder. Not only like the order of operations, okay, decimal operations, as well as fraction operations for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Then we also have, if you need to do any conversion, this is definitely for my T's people, you know, converting for the percent. You also do that for GED and the ASVAB. Then we have place values, okay, measures essential tendencies, okay, graphing linear inequalities, system of inequalities. Then we have Pythagorean's theorem, a little bit of trig, volume, surface area, you know, area and perimeter. Can't forget about system of equations. And then conversions, okay? You're definitely going to be seeing a lot of that. So all of this jam-packed into one notebook. This particular notebook is for Algebra 1, pre-algebra, algebra, algebra 1. Then I have this book for Algebra 2 and Calculus. Reason why is because of the stuff that's in the back of the book, okay? Taking a look, all this, then you have more, then you have log, exponentials, then you have this whole sequential, the same rulings, but then you have complex numbers, and then last but not least, okay, you have your Pascal's triangle, then unit circle, definitely, all in its lovely glory. Okay, so that will be for Algebra 2 and Calculus. And for my lefties, I started a left-handed series. Okay, look at this. Look how it opens. So you can join the party, okay, just as everything else. This one is for my Algebra 1, and then I have another one that is for my Algebra 2 and pre-calculus. But it's left-handed. Now, the left-handed edition, I'm going to let you know, you won't be able to find it on the A. And you're like, the A? You know, the brown box with the smiley face, you know, Jeff went out to space and all that fun stuff. Yeah, the A. Okay, so you can only get the left-handed book here. You can get all my books here, actually. But if you want to get it, like, overnight, the A will probably be your best bet. But it's a little bit cheaper when you get it here. So if you want any of those books, go ahead and take a picture of this. I'm going to take it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. All right. And last but not least. Oh, this is a different name. Doesn't test any of this, sadly. That's okay. Not a problem. Okay, how can we buy this from you? Got that. Teacher for the next 3 years. Oh, good. That's good. Per day. Per day. Yes. Okay. All right. So if you want a copy of my notes, like the notes that I actually do here live, okay, I have something called Audrey's Notes. So we have right now books 1 through 5. We're currently working on book 6. Okay. Once book 6 is done, then I'm going to put that up there. Book 6 should be done rather quickly. Definitely probably around this week. Oh, yeah. The next couple of days. So, yeah. So definitely this week, book 6 will be coming on. And this is what happens. You get all of my notes. Notices in color. People, printing in color is expensive. But here I do it for you. I do it. Okay, so you get to get all of my color copies. Now, when it comes to, okay, why should I have this? If you notice, there's always a QR code, okay? If you scan this QR code, it will take you directly to the live that it's talking about. And you can use these as notes as guided notes, and it'll just walk you through step by step. I've noticed some homeschool parents use it, just to help their kids out. Some teachers are using it for remediation or even some advancement for some of the kiddos that are in like younger grades. Like if they're in the 6th grade or the 7th grade and they're going into Algebra 1 and they're more advanced than their kids, I've had a couple people buy it for those students. Now, just like my lives, it's very sporadic. It's all over the place. So you got like matrices, sometimes you got probability, and then you got your distance and rate. This is the 3rd book. So parallel and perpendicular, you have a lot of the linear stuff and also adding, subtracting, multiplying, polynomials. We did a little bit of some geometry in here. We also have mean, median, mode, and range. So we did some stuff with that. So it gives you a nice little mixture. Here it gives you a little bit of probability of compound events. And some examples. So some people always ask me, like, Audrey, which one do you think is your best book? I like 3 and 4. 3 and 4 to me is my best book. The first one is good, but a lot of those concepts that I did in 1, I also do in 3 and 4. Okay, so if you want to get all 5, if you want to get all 6, hey, knock yourself out. That's going to be you. But if you do want those notes, again, you can get it on the A, or you can get it at a little cheaper rate. It'll just take like about a week for it to come to you, and you can get it here. All right. All right. Okay. I know, and you have to buy per book. I know. I'm trying to talk to the company, but, I don't own the company. So I guess I'm just going to have to get myself together and own my own book company. Why not? Why not? All right. So I'm going to skedaddle. I want you to have the rest of an amazing day. Continue to be awesome, people. I love you guys dearly. Everything, just your time, your attention, your questions. Thank you. Okay? Thank you. All right. So have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm going to be going over PSAT prep. All right. So have an awesome one and take care. Bye now. Oh, and if you have any questions, go ahead and message me. Okay. Bye.